So something very interesting happened. One of our followers, who happens to be a member of the Malaysia PC gaming community, just slid into my DM, or in this case it's PM because you know why? We're in Malaysia. 6 months ago, he went on Lazada and bought a PC, and he was bragging about it because it saved quite a few bucks. But you know what? His GPU started coughing up and then artifacts showing up everywhere. So naturally, he went back to Lazada and tried to find the reseller to try to resolve this issue. But to his surprise, the seller's page, the entire existence is gone, disappeared, just like magic. Mike, right?
Mike, you can't see I'm working, man.
你看啦，你看啦。Working from home like a boss, acting tough, all day albatross. With Viewnet, relax boss, it's not complex. You just flex that RTX to your ex. Don't care about them haters. They all got Nvidia. Look it up, holler to my fellow creators. When it comes to GPU, Nvidia. My friend's money officially went kaput. Which is why Mob House always advocate that you guys only buy from authorized dealers like Viewnet, because if they've been around since the times of the dinosaur, they're not gonna come and con you. Which brings us to our sponsored message from Nvidia, who hit us up to collaborate with Viewnet, and we asked them, can I do whatever I want? They say yes. So I asked them, can I review Viewnet? Get it? Review Viewnet? Okay, so this is how it's about to go down. So I'm gonna pretend to be somebody else because I'm scared that I'm too famous, that they recognize my voice and give me differential treatment. See another fancy word. You understand? Google lah! I'm gonna pretend to be a father buying a PC for his son. It's gonna be a gaming PC, 7 to 9K budget, inclusive of mouse and keyboard. Also, we're gonna want to have ray tracing because my son apparently is a very fussy gamer and he wants to see all the ray tracing in RTX. And let's see if the salespeople at Viewnet can withstand my harsh Viewnet process. So let me get into character first. I'm Uncle Lim. Bad.
Hello, Viewnet 啊，头家啊，我到电脑，不要讲福建话，讲华语可以吗？讲 English，OK， 讲 English。My 孩子 ，my son recently got many A in his SPM. I want to buy him the best gaming PC. My budget is only 7 to 9,000 ringgit. He is a very 很会玩。He want to play the block Minecraft, but he want the new one where got like the light fly here, fly there, 很多灯光，很 real, 很 very real. Correct. Ray tracing, correct. Yes, I need the keyboard and the mouse. You send to my son office. I want to surprise him. Okay, bye. Bye.
Something like that, lor. So you have to go a bit higher. Is that what I think it is? Hey bro, is this from Viewnet?
Yes. Come, find first.
Okay, can. So everything inside, right? The boxes.
Everything there.
Okay. Wow, heavy.
There's some more.
Okay, thanks bro.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So fast. So we're going to start this review of the PC sent over by Viewnet on a 5-point system. And the first one is workmanship, which includes cable management and packaging for delivery. Number 2, we have the parts compatibility and selection, which we want to see if they actually pick the parts that's suitable for what we want in the gaming PC. The third one is performance. We're going to do some benchmarks to see if it actually performs up to specs in terms of the things that we want and mentioned in the phone call. And number 4, customer service, where I'll tell you how the whole experience of shopping with Viewnet went online. And number 5 is actually price, to see how competitive the price is in the PC that they sent to us. So we're gonna start this by actually opening up the box. It looks like the box itself is undamaged. The original packaging from the casing is still intact. They didn't add any bubble wrap, which is something. Satisfaction. The casing looks pretty untouched, except for probably some fingers that were assembling it. They secured it a little bit tighter than the finger tightening that you normally do at home. for transport, most probably. It's actually a good idea. Wow, not bad, this case. Quite tiny, but seem to be pretty good. The front is very clean. All the cables that's supposed to be hidden is hidden. I like how they did the 24-pin power. That's okay. No stray cables, no mustard and ketchup. Everything is black. And you know what they say? Once you go black. Now let's take a look at the back. Here is where things get a little bit trickier. It's not very neat, but I assume it's okay because this case doesn't have a see-through panel on the back side. It's all black anyways. As long as the cables are tied up where they are supposed to. Voila! As you can see, in terms of the first category workmanship, the cable management is pretty good. In terms of packaging, there is a significant lack of bubble wrap, but I assume that Viewnet is so used to shipping out PC every day with this courier that they trust them. As long as this boots and there's no scratch on this, I'm gonna give them a solid 8 out of 10. So let's find out if we can trust their courier. In 3, in 2, in 1. Okay, good sign. Got RGB flying around. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Now let's wait for the splash and then the subsequent window thing. See? Boot! Now let's take a deeper dive into the specs and the parts and all the good stuff. Wow. For the processor, they picked the i5-10400, which has 6 cores and 12 threads, a base clock of 2.9 GHz and a boost clock of 4.3 GHz. They did ask me if I want to upgrade to an i7, but the price is almost double, so I chose the i5 instead. For the cooler, we have the ASUS ROG Strix LC360 RGB AIO, which is a little bit of an overkill for an i5 processor. But you know what? Let's just see how much it costs at the end. For the motherboard, we have the ASUS TUF Gaming Z490 Plus Wi-Fi. Going for a B460 would be better, but they're still not out during the time of this filming. For memory, they gave us 16GB of ADATA XPG SPECTRIX D50 DDR4 rated at 200 MHz. Perfect for a gaming build. For storage, they gave us the ADATA XPG 512GB of M.2 NVMe SSD, plenty of space for your Windows as well as some games. For the graphics card, we chose the ASUS ROG Strix Gaming Nvidia Geforce RTX 2070 Super with 8GB of GDDR6. We actually asked for the RTX 2060 Super, but they ran out of stock, so they asked me if I'm okay upgrading to this, and I said, you know, why not? As long as it fits my budget. So Nvidia Geforce RTX Super cards actually come with two main features. The first one is real-time ray tracing, which is a real-time simulation of light and how it interacts with different objects in simulated environments such as game world spaces, which will give you a lot more realism and adds a lot more immersion into the gaming experience. The second one is DLSS or Deep Learning Subsampling. It performs AI functions to solve issues such as blurring and transparency, along with temporal anti-aliasing. You can either include more samples and make things look better, or get similar visuals to TAA alone at basically half the performance cost. For the power supply, they chose the ASUS ROG Strix 750W 80+ Go fully modular power supply. This is more than enough. For the case, I told them that I didn't want something too big, so they gave us the ASUS TUF Gaming GT301, which is an ATX mid-tower compact case with a tempered glass side panel. As the cherry on top, we have the ASUS TUF Gaming K7 Optical-Mech keyboard and the mouse, which is the ROG Strix Impact Gaming mouse. Both of these devices has RGB that is aura syncable, so you can sync it with your PC. Moving on to the benchmarks. Here are our settings for our Shadow of Tomb Raider benchmark. 1440p, DirectX 12 is turned on. Remember to turn on the RTX DLSS to get a boost in frame rates. This is a custom preset, texture quality to high, and Isotropic 8+. I set the ray trace shadow quality to medium, but you can set it to high if you want, but you're gonna lose a few frames. And here are the rest of the settings. Feel free to pause and take a look. Now let's get into the game. This jungle scene is actually perfect for showcasing the technology of ray tracing in RTX. As you can see, the beautiful God rays coming in from the top of the canopy into the underbush. I'm talking about the plants. Running through this place, you can see all the shadows being simulated by the ray tracing to give you a more realistic look. I mean, people say that this is very dark and stuff like that, but I'm gonna turn off ray tracing for a while and you can see just how bad it looks. See? See how much brighter everything is, but how much more cartoony it is. The reflections on the floor, look at that. What is that? Look at the reflection in the water. Who is this girl I see? Nobody, exactly, because the reflection is not real. Now let me turn on ray tracing again. I've said it once and I said it 100 times. Lara Croft is bae. You see, although our frame rates have suffered, you can see the reflection in the water, the trees, the leaves. Do you see the sun being reflected in the water? How real is that? Now we didn't test everything, we just did some 1440p gaming benchmarks which I think is suitable for this PC build. If you want to see a more in-depth review on all these parts, feel free to check out our other videos. So as you guys can see, Viewnet also did pretty well in the part selection as well as the performance category. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is customer service. Although I was very pushy and seemed to be very uncertain with what I wanted, they were quite patient with me and they answered my questions and then actually helped me select parts that is compatible with what I wanted in the phone call. What's more, they actually followed up with another phone call later on in the day, sent over some specs that I should show my son before I actually make the final purchasing order. When they were shipping the PC out, they actually contacted me and followed up, and I knew when to accept the parcel. I give them a very solid 9 out of 10. So what about price? Now I went and picked up all these parts on Lazada and I got a grand total of 8,667 ringgit. Another gentleman from Viewnet actually followed up with me and pointed me towards a bundle that they are currently doing. It is priced at 6,099 ringgit, but it comes with a GTX 1660 Super. I asked them if I could replace that with a RTX 2070 Super instead, because they ran out of the 2060 Super like I told you before. When we took out the price of the 1660 Super and put in the 2070 Super, it totaled a price of 8,088 ringgit. Now they were gracious enough to give me another discount on top of that and rounded it down to 7,999, which is our total price. That is still a whopping 670 ringgit cheaper than if you bought all these parts individually. Maybe if you go and pester every seller out there, you could save a few more bucks. But here's a word of advice coming from a 15-year-long PC builder. Even if you've done everything right, if you think they've done everything right, the PC might just not boot. And the troubleshooting part is the difficult one because you have to test out every single piece of component to see what is not working. This is why I think that if you're not an experienced builder, you should always rely on authorized dealers with good technicians to test out the PC before you receive it in your mail. Looking at the price alone, I would give them an 8 out of 10, but because of the excellent service that I received, I'll bump it up to 8.5 out of 10. Now if you take all my scores, add together and divide by 5, because mathematics, you get a very respectable score of 8.5 out of 10 for a very respectable authorized dealer like Viewnet. Jokes aside, if you guys do decide to drop by Laoyat to shop for your PC, feel free to pester Viewnet and tell them that Mob House sent you and that you're part of the mob. Viewnet is actually one of my favorite stores in Laoyat alone because they've been around since forever. Their PC DIY department and their people in there has been working there for a long time since I was wearing my short pants in standard 6 and showing off my sexy legs. If you thought this video is awesome, don't forget to like and subscribe. Go over to Viewnet, give them a like, tell them that I sent you so that they know I'm doing my job, as well as give Nvidia a like, because right now when it comes to gaming, if you're not Team Green, that's just mean, man. And I'll see you in the next one. RKB. Wow, I did not sing so high. It must be the coffee in the morning.